And Jason, what are you eating? I'm eating oranges. What are you eating? I'm really curious. Like, what are you eating? I'm really curious. Noodle? Is instant
Yep.
noodle? Is it instant noodle?
No,
So what's inside?
牛肉面，
你妈给你做的吗？
对，
好吃吗？
好吃。
你看 Jason。Yeah, okay. Tell me something about yourself. Like seriously, all you guys, we haven't seen each other for almost a month. I missed you. Okay, so we're starting with Jason because Jason seems very happy because he is enjoying his noodle. So tell me something about yourself. Like what's going on during the winter vacation?
Um, I
Home?
went to Disney World.
You went to Disney World?
Yep.
So one of them I guess in LA, right?
No, Disney World, like not land, but world.
Like oh, uh,
There's only one.
only one in uh California. Oh no, Florida. Florida.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went there like this August. I went there this August. So which one you enjoy the best? For like they have so many
the NBA.
family. Okay, okay, good. Because you like playing
There
the
was a game there.
yeah. Okay. So how about you, Oliver?
I went to China
Mm-hmm.
and there were lots of there were water parks there.
Mm-hmm. So did you get a lot of red pocket?
What?
Red pockets.
红包，
Oh, 红包.
Not much.
Not much.
恭
Oh,
喜发财，
I
红
guess
包
most
拿
of the
来。
I think most of them being covered by your mom. 你妈妈肯定密下来。啊，你还小，妈妈帮你存着. It's always like, all the parents is like they did. When I was little, my mom always said, 红包妈妈帮你存着，妈妈帮你存着，等你长大以后给你. I never saw that seriously. Okay, don't never buy those kind of, they're totally lying. Okay, Chapter, how about you?
我去了朋友家。
Wow.
So for the whole entire winter vacation, you went to 朋友家。
呀，
你一天都没在家里住。
这住了。
So you went there and back home and went there and back home.
呀，
Okay, so he must be your best friend. Oh, I'm not sure if it is he or she. Okay, I assume it is a him, right?
呀，
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So Chapter does not have a girlfriend yet. Okay, everybody, like officially announced. Okay, not have a girlfriend yet, but have a boyfriend. Okay, Jason, do you have a girlfriend, by the way? I'm just curious. Nobody you like?
Maybe not. Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Maybe not. Okay, we cannot see Jason's head at all. You know what? This is a very big clue. Like Jason's starting to
No.
crash. Yeah, he is very shy about this question. Huh, Jason? So you just tell me, okay, if you had a girlfriend, you're gonna tell
No.
me first. You're gonna tell me first.
I don't have one.
I know you don't have one yet, but if you had one, you're gonna tell me, right? Are you gonna show me? Introduce
Yeah.
her to me? I'm not sure if it's a her, but it's most a case, like big case scenarios, it should be a her, right? And yeah, so how about Elaine?
I spent 3 weeks in Whistler.
Seriously, 3 weeks. You literally
Yeah,
living there.
yeah.
Okay, so you must enjoy a lot of snow there.
My friend got frostbite.
Okay,
It was negative 37 degrees.
Yeah, I know, but better than Cyprus, right? People telling me that we went to Cyprus the other day. It's like, oh, and let me tell you one thing. It's a very miserable story, but my friends is coming from LA, right?
Yeah.
To do the winter vacation, aka Christmas. So they arrived at December 25th, okay, or 7th or something, 6th, yeah, December 26th. No, 27th, yeah, December 27th. So they arrived and they said very next day they're gonna go to the Cyprus. They booked the camp for their kids. And you know what? The very next day, the dad broken the leg, like seriously broke legs. Both of them, and was like thoroughly crashed the knees. And it's horrible. It is pretty horrible. So they went back to LA after 1 week and literally do nothing. And you know why this happened? Because Cyprus has no snow at all. It's literally like water and rocks. I can see, like, for the first time in my entire life, I saw there's black part on the Cyprus. You know, it's a very sad story. Okay, don't worry about it, everybody. So we are going to give me 1 second. Sorry. I'm going to show you the thing we're going to do today, okay? This
Freedom.
part is not hard. I don't think it's hard, but it's very easy to make mistakes, okay? So let's just take a look at this one. Can you see it, everybody? No, I don't.
No.
Yeah, it's my. No. 1 second, 1 second. Sorry, I need to.我每次看 Jason 吃饭，上课吃饭，我也想上课吃饭。我觉得我想，我们下次以后班级里面的小朋友一起上课吃饭，好吧？就including me，然后每个人上课的时候都拿一碗面在那里吃，可以吧？感觉挺好的，是不是？整个全班同学一起吃面，Jason 好不好？Chapter, do you agree with me? Okay, so let's take a look at this one, okay? So we're going to take a look at the radical roots today, okay? So this part is not hard. All you need to do just to remember the formula, okay, Chapter? After you remember the formula, everything is easy. 那我这个笔怎么又找不出来了？ Must be. I need a new. Okay, so let's take a look at this one, okay? So we have learned that if we have x squared equals x times x, correct? This is 2x times together. If you have x3, that means x times x times x. Correct, everybody? So like I said, if it is 5, 4, it's 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Okay, so what if you have a fraction on the exponent part? Understand, Chapter? So if I have 5 and half, so it doesn't mean like we have half 5 times each other. No, okay, so that means you are going to put them into the
We
5.
can't see it.
You cannot see anything? 不能看到吗？那你们不早点跟我说
You weren't talking.
Okay, is it okay you can see everything?
No.
No, okay, it's still loading. Give me 1 second. 它 loading 的很慢。现在你们能看到我的脸吗
Yeah.
？Okay, 那我再来一次。Yeah, this screen the screen sharing is loading. Just give me 1 second. 很慢。现在可以了。Now you can see, right? Okay. I'm sorry. The computer is very slow. Not the computer, I think the internet. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. So if A and B are real numbers, that means they cannot be like I or whatever. Like most of the number we learned is real, right? Okay, so like I said, if we said 5 power 4 equals 4 5s times together, right, everybody? But if I give you 5 and 1 over 4, how are we going to do it? Okay, everybody. So the thing is, you're going to put a 5 here. and 4 here. Understand? So it's 5 radical 4. I know it's not really like making any sense, but just to remember that. So if you have x power 1 over 3, what you're gonna do, it's a radical x inside the little house and outside the 3. Okay, just to copy this down. I know, Oliver, I think you learned it this one before, right? You know it. Okay, but we're going to just though. So we need to remember how to read them. Okay, there are a lot of students don't know how to read them. So it's a and n is called a radical expression. Square root is called, sorry, it's not square, it's radical sign, and a is a radical, radicand, and n is index. Okay, so this is index, this is radical sign, and this is radicand. Okay, Oliver, please write down them, okay?
我有一个问题
说
，During quarantine, why did you give away free lessons?
Huh?
Yeah,
What? What?
you gave away free lessons for like quarantine or something 2 years ago.
I'm away?
Wait, what? No, the quarantine. You gave away free lessons.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's because, you know, when quarantine time, most of the kids cannot go to the school, right? So I cannot, because some of the student, they cannot afford like going to my class. So I give the free classes during the quarantine time for a long time, I guess. Yeah, so it's on the YouTube. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. So Oliver, let's take a look at this one. So if I give you 9 and radical 2, right? So this is almost very easy because that's a square root, right? So that's why a equals 3. Oh, Daniel is here. We can just. Hi, Daniel. Oh, Daniel's not there yet. Hello, Daniel. Daniel, how about you
Hello.
turn on the camera and turn on the mic? Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
How are you? Good.
Not bad.
Not bad. Okay. So let's take a look at this one, okay? So obviously we have learned that when you have the square root or when the index is even number, chapter, remember I said then this number must be what? When you have an index for even, this number must be what? Positive. Chapter, do you still remember? Okay. No, you forgot. Okay, so now you remembered, please, okay? So if you have the radicand inside is positive and the index is also even number, the answer must be positive. Okay, but if you have the radicand as negative and the index is odd number, this answer could be negative. Chapter, understand? Okay, so if you have the radicand as negative and index is even, this question has no answer. Elaine understood? Daniel understood? Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Okay, it doesn't necessarily like inside this, the radical sign, the radicand is always a square number. Or if let's show you. So 6 square root, the answer is just square root 6 because there's no more thing existing. Okay, so for instance, if I give you x power 4 equals 3, so 3 radical sign 4 equals x, correct? So x could equals what? X could equals to 3/4 and or -3. Why? Because it's 4, right? 这个 for instance, if you have -2 squared, it could equals 4, and 2 squared also could equals 4. Okay, so I want you to write down this one. So like I said, if A is a negative number and N is even, then there's no real number solution. So it's no solution. So if N is odd, and then there's only one real N roots for A. Oh, A is 0 and there's only one, so N X equals 0. Okay, everybody get it? Okay, so let's take a look at this one, absolute value. The absolute value of A, denoted as A absolute value, is a distance on the real number line between 0 and A without regard to direction. Absolute value notation is needed to simplify some radical operations. Okay, everybody take a look. The absolute value of A is defined as A absolute value equals A or negative A. When A is bigger than 0, A absolute value equals A. When A is smaller than 0, A is absolute value equals negative A. It's very obvious. Like 5 absolute value equals 5, but -5 equals negative 5 equals 5. Okay, so let's copy this down, the property of radicals. Everybody, please write down these. Okay, when you finish copy, let's take a look at this one. So how are we going to use this one, okay? So if we have x squared equals square root equals x times x square root, like I said, if you have anything inside the square root side, you have two of them, you became 1. The reason why it's 2 became 1 is because actually it is square root, so the index here is 2. So on the other hand, if you have x times x times x, and index is 3, so chapter is 3 became 1. Get it? When you have x times x times x times x or times x power 4 here. So it's 4 became 1. So whatever has not been became 1, stay in the radical sign. Get it, Jason? Get it, Elaine? Get it, Daniel? Okay, so it is very important to check the index for every single question because it is based on how many of them became 1. Get it? Okay, so if you understood, we're going to go on, okay? When x is a real number, x square root n, x radical n with the n positive integer. So it's always like that. Okay, so I want you to take a look at this one. Why x squared square root equals absolute value x? Why? I want you to take a look at this one. This is very, very important, okay? I know, Oliver, you think you already know everything. But the question based on these theorem is going to be expanded a lot, okay? Daniel, also, I think you are already understand how important this part because I'm going to show you a lot of different questions based on that. So let's take a look at this one. Why it is like that, okay, chapter? To understand a theorem, the best way is using a special number to put inside. Jason? Okay, so let's take a look at this one. First, I'm going to take x equals -5. Okay, so x squared equals what? 25. Okay, 25 square root equals what? Equals 5. So you're going to find out it's not equals to x itself, but equals to absolute value, -5. Get it, Illy? Okay, so now I'm going to take x equals 5. Okay, so still equals square root 25 and equals 5. And this time, x equals x. So you're going to find out when x is smaller or equals to 0的时候呢, x squared square root x squared equals absolute value x. But at x is bigger than 0, it's just itself. So based on that, Jason, chapter, Oliver, we're learning a totally different type of math, okay? So the answer of this question is based on different cases. Understand, Elaine? So we need to figure out an answer that's going to be fitful for any situation. Jason, chapter, I want you to clearly listen to what I'm talking right now, okay? So right now, math became, for one question, there are actually 2 different answers, right, Daniel? So we need to figure out an answer that fit for any case. For instance, before we learned 4 times 5 is always equals 20, right? But right now, x squared, square root x squared, could be equals -x or equals x. So based on that, the absolute value x is right. Get it? Because we cannot say this one equals -x or x, but we say equals x absolute value, so including all the possible answers. Understand? And let's take a look at next one, okay? Next one. You also have another way to describe, because you can say x squared square root equals what? Equals x, where x is bigger or equal to 0. Equals -x, x is smaller than 1. Get it? It's up to you. Understand? For this question, you can say x squared equals x when x is bigger than 0, when x equals -x, x is smaller than 0, or you can say x equals absolute value x. It's based on x could be anything. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. So number 2 is a different way to describe an answer as x cube square root. So we can just put a special number again. So x cube equals, when x equals 5, x cube equals 125, right? So x cube square root equals x times x times x square root. So 2 became 1, so x square root x, which is 5 and 5. Oh, you're gonna see that? It's right? But only when what? When x is bigger or equals to 0. So I want all of you to give me the answer. When x is smaller than 0, what does the answer looks like? Okay, so when you copy everything done and tell me the answer. So everybody, when x power 3 square root x is smaller than 0, you're going to see that. Okay, so x out, x inside. So the thing in the square root cannot be smaller than 0. So that's why there's no answer. Get it, everybody? Okay, so you know that when the square root, when the index, okay, is 2, 4, 6, or 8, the number inside it must be positive. Okay, so this is something why there's no answer for the x is smaller than 0. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this one. So summary, okay, so if negative x is undefined, because when x is bigger than 0, so it cannot be like that. So square root x equals negative a has no real solution as well. So when x is bigger, and this one is square root, it must be positive, and negative a is negative, so it's impossible. And negative square root x equals a also has no solution because you just technically move this negative to the other side, right? So x squared equals negative a has no real solution as well. So it's the same thing because x squared, anything x squared must be what? Positive, right, everybody? So now let's take a look at A, B, C, D, E, okay? So A, B, C, D, true or false? Please send it to me by chat. Thank you. So you're going to say, for instance, for the first one, if you say TF, TF, F, okay? So if it is true for true for true. So if it is TF, TF, F. So remember, okay, everybody, please send it to me by chat. Okay, so I have seen Oliver's answer and Jason's answer. Keep going, okay? 还有 Chapter，还有 Elaine，还有 Daniel 还没有发言。 Okay, Elaine has sent to me chapter, and Daniel, let's just be quick. Okay, so I'm going to start to explain. The equation x squared equals 9 and x equals 3 are equivalent. Is it true? Oliver, tell me it's true. I think it's false. Sorry, I should say false. Okay, no, this one. What I'm doing. Well, why it is false? Okay, Oliver? Because you know x squared equals 9, but x could equals positive 3 and negative 3. It is equivalent, but it's not the only answer that there's the other possible answer. Understood? Okay, the equation x squared equals negative 9 has no real solution. That's right, because any square number must equals positive. The equation x squared equals 0 has no solution. This is false because they do have one solution, is x equals 0. Correct, Daniel? Correct chapter? Okay, this equation x cubed equals 23 has solution of x equals positive 3 or negative 3. It is false. Because x cubed equals 27, so that means this is a positive number. Because if x equals negative 3, negative 3 power 3 equals what? Equals negative 27, so it's false. Last but not least, the equation x squared root equals negative 4 has no real solution. It is true. Because this one, anything you see the square root sign without anything in front of it, this answer must be 0 or positive. True? Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Okay, so number 2, instead of this one, I'm going to just ask you to do B, D, F, H, J, L, and N. Okay, so each of you, please finish this.
哪一次老师？
怎么了？你发了。 Okay, so and then Jason sent it to me. I'm still waiting for the rest of you, but okay, I got Oliver's. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. X squared equals -4. Okay, so x squared equals -4. Chapter, can you tell me when you see a square number equals negative, that means what? You have a square number equals negative number. You don't know that? Chapter? I think you know. The square number cannot be negative, right? So that means what? No solution, correct? There's no solution, okay? So Jason, x cubed equals -8. That's possible. That's good, right? Because it's so chapter, do you understand? Because this is an odd number, so it's okay to be negative. So it's -2. Okay. That's why this is no solution as well. This is -2. This is no solution. This is -2. This is 0. Okay, it should be pretty easy, right, everybody? So let's move forward to the next one, okay? So when we see this x squared equal 3, we can just say the answer is square root 3. When x cubed equal 3, that means cube root 3. When x4 equal 3, it's 3, 4. Get it? Chapter very easy, just to put this one on the other side, okay? But like I said, for the rest, the right side of the answer, it's all negative. Okay, you need to think about it. Which one has answer? Which one has no solution? Okay, so Oliver, if there's no solution, you can just say NA. So because all of you, if you type no solution, it's going to be a long process. Just say NA is fine. So not available. Yeah,
I
not
just
available.
did.
Okay, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
So are you doing B to
Yeah.
L?
Yeah. B to L. Jason, thank you. You did the cube root. Okay, first one is NA, because negative is not going to be working with all the even index, right? So basically, I can just put all of them and not available. So negative 3, 3, negative 3, 5, and negative 3, 7. Understand, everybody? Pretty easy, right? So just to go through every single one. So let's take a look at this one. What if you have a number that is combined with a number or the other variables? So I'm going to go through with the left side with all of you, so you can go with the right side yourself. Fair enough? Okay, so I can give you some demos. So basically 9x squared, there are actually two parts, okay? The number part and the variable part. So the number part is 9, and the variable part is x squared. So 9 equals what? Equals 3 squared. And x squared equals what? X squared, obviously. So this one, you can just put them into as 3 times 3 times x times x. Correct, chapter? So became, because this one, there's nothing, but actually what? Actually is 2. So 2 became 1, 2 became 1, so 3x. Clear? Okay, next one. The same thing. Put them into two parts. X power 6, so it's going to be 6x listing their times together. So 2 became 1, so became 3x. And y4, so obviously they're 4y, so it's y squared. Okay, next one. X squared became 1x. How about y? Leave it in the house. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much explaining everything. So B to N, your turn. Okay, B to N. Oh, sorry, one more question. So how about x5 and y2? So x5, obviously there's 2 became 1. So 5x, there's only 2x allowed to go out, but there's still another x stay inside the house, right? And y2 became 1y, so it's going to be x squared, y, and x squared. Get it? Okay, so from x, sorry, from B to H all the way. Okay, pretty easy. Okay, everybody, x squared, x, y squared, x, y, x squared, x, y squared, x cubed, y squared, and x5, and 2, x4, and square root x. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so I think should be no problem. So let's just go the next one. Okay, Jason, 你在干嘛? Okay, so this one I think is pretty easy. So we're not going to do this anymore because it's just everything the same, only the 3 and 4, right? Jason and Oliver and Daniel. Daniel, 你在干嘛？拿那么大的灯照着我，你烦不烦？No，继续。老师是被你审问的犯人嘛？你知道吗？只有这样子审犯人的时候，才会拿这个灯照着你的脸的，是不是啊？你们是不是很坏？真的 very bad。Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Okay, just a 3 became 1 and 4 became 1. So, okay, so now let's move forward to the harder part. Okay, so sometimes the thing inside the radical sign doesn't necessarily to be variables or numbers. It could be equation as well. Sorry, this scanner is not very good. So I'm just going to re-copy this one. Okay, so x minus 2 squared and then square root. Take this whole thing as a. For instance, if you think x minus a 2 equals a, so this question became a squared, right? So you're going to find out it's equals a. So this question equals x minus 2. Understand? Okay, but everybody, absolute value. Remember, when you have squared and square roots, you have to have the absolute value. Remember this one? Remember that, okay? So everybody, when you have x minus 2 power 4, then index 4, that's the same thing. The answer is x minus 2, absolute value. Let me just give you an example, okay? This part is super duper important, okay? Let's just give you an example. For instance, Oliver, when x equals 1. When x equals 1, x minus 2 equals what? Equals negative 1, correct? Okay, so x minus 2 squared equals what? Equals 1, right? So 1 square root equals what? Equals 1. Okay, so if you give the answer x minus 2 squared square root equals x minus 2, which is negative 1. But for this equation, you do it properly, one step by step equals 1. So 1 is not equals to negative. Get it, Elaine? Daniel? This part is very, 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 very important, okay? Because a lot of students say, okay, I'm done. Okay, I finished. Okay, I'm so smart that I get the answer right. But actually, you missed part of them because negative 1 is not equals to 1. This has only happened when x is bigger, x minus 2 is bigger than 0. For instance, x equals 3, right? So x minus 2 equals 1. And 1 squared equals 1, and square root 1 equals 1. So this equation equals 1. And you say this x minus 2 squared square root equals x minus 2. And you put them x equals 1. So this is right. Right? And it's not, when we discussed it, it's not x minus 2 is bigger than 0. X minus 2 is smaller or equals to 0. Yeah, it's x minus 2 bigger than 0. It's not x bigger than 0. X minus is smaller than equal to 0. Get it? When we discussed it, it's the whole thing as a whole entire pattern. You think about it as bigger or equals to 0 or smaller than 0. Get it? Okay, I want you to make sure you understand what I'm talking about, okay? So 2 minus x equals squared. So this is also equals 2 minus x square root. Sorry, absolute value, what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at number B, okay? So number B is another situation. Do we have to add an absolute value on top of this? Okay, I want to ask every single one in our class. Do we have to add an absolute value for x minus 2? Cube, then cube root. Okay, Oliver is saying, is saying no, we don't need to. Okay, so let's take a look at this one, okay? The reason is because the cube is allowed to have the negative sign in showing up, right? The square is going to eat up all the negative part. Understand, Jason? So for this one, we can directly put x equals x negative 2 cube. And if you are not very sure about that, Elaine, the best way is put a special number inside it. Understand? So I'm going to do x equals 1 or x equals 3 for both cases. So when x equals 1, x minus 2 equals what? Equals negative 1. So negative 1 power 3 equals negative 1 again. So negative 1 square cube root equals negative 1 as well. So you can see they do equals to each other, correct? Okay, when x equals 3, we're putting together x minus 2 equals 1, and 1 cube equals 1, and 1 cube root equals 1 again. So both of them are equals to each other. Get it? So I want you to put them into your brain. It's like when you see the square or cube or 4 times in the index even, I want you to immediately have an idea pop up into your brain. It's like, you know, there's absolute value maybe kicking, but not always necessarily. Understand, Jason? Okay, so we're going to talk about when it's not necessarily, when it's necessarily later today. But I want you to do number G, number H, and number E, and the number F yourself. Okay, so we just do 4 questions in a row. Okay, so I'm going to just immediately tell you the answer. The first one is 2 minus x absolute value. Okay, in order to get them really the answer, you need to do this. Okay, when x is bigger or equals to 2, the answer will be x minus 2. And when x is smaller than 2, the answer is 2 minus x. Okay, I hope you understand this one. I explained it pretty well. So next one. 2 minus x, you don't have to do anything because this is power 3, this is index 3. So x equals 2 minus x. Okay, next one, the same thing, 2 minus x. But when you have the more deliberate is when x is bigger or equals to 2, this one equals x minus 2, and x is smaller than 2, x equals 2 minus x. So why it is always 2 is because this one is 2 minus x is the thing to make them into 0 or not 0, right? When x equals 2 is a key point to make the whole entire thing into 0. So this one, because it's 2, is 5 and 5, so it's still 2 minus x. Okay, pretty easy. Get everybody? Okay, so now I'm going to explain number I, number J, and number K, and number L. Okay, and you're going to, I'm going to do number I, number J, number K for you. And some of this will be your homework, okay? And M and O, I'm going to explain it so we can just go through N and P. Okay, makes sense. So, okay, so x squared plus 4x plus 4. We learned the factoring last term, so x plus 2 squared. Square root, right? So when you get out, remember it must be have x plus 2 absolute value. Correct? And now tell me about it. When is a key point? Key point is making this whole entire thing into 0, Elaine. So x equals what? Must be bigger or equals to -2. X plus 2 is whatever here is. When x is smaller than -2, Oliver, it's negative x minus 2. So all you need to do is just when it's the entire thing inside the absolute value, it's positive, just to leave it's open, like just to take the absolute value sign. But if it is negative inside it, you take it out, you need to add a negative sign in front of it. So that's why it became negative x minus x, okay?
Wait, so it's negative x minus 2?
Yeah. If x is smaller than -2.
Pardon?
If x is smaller than -2, or x is bigger than -2, x equals plus 2.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take a look at this one. So this one equals x plus 1 squared and x minus 1 squared and square root. So everybody, this one is more complicated, okay? Very much more complicated because there's 2 key points to make this whole entire equation into 0. Correct, Oliver? 没有在听啊，没有在听，对不对？眼睛在看别的地方，那你做出来的多少？equals x plus 1 absolute value times x minus 1 absolute value. Okay, so how to get this one? So there are 2 points. The 1 point is -1. The other point is 1. So based on this one, there are 1 part, 2 part, and 3 part for this question, for this answer, okay, if you want to deliberate it. So first one is when x is smaller than -1. Second one is x bigger than or equals to -1 or smaller than 1. Last one is x is bigger than 1. Get it? We talk about this part, and this part. 我跟你讲，这个部分一点都不简单。Also, when we're doing the AMC 10 or AMC 8, there are so many questions about something like that. Okay, so I want you to be very, very focused. We only have 15 minutes left. Okay, I want everybody to understand this part very clearly. So let's see. How do we find out the answer? Very easy, boys and girls. Put a special number. When x equals smaller than -1, I'm going to name x equals -2. For this part, equals -1. For this part, equals -3. Correct? Okay, so, but the thing is, there are 2 parts times together. If both of them are showing up as negative, negative mean negative equals what? Equals positive, correct? So based on this one, we have x plus 1 times x minus 1. So this answer equals x squared minus 1. Only when x equals -1, okay? Equals smaller than -1. Okay, so let's take a look at next one. When x is in between -1 and 1, how about we just name x equals 0? When x equals 0, x plus 1 equals +1, and x minus 1 equals -1. So positive meet negative equals what? Equals negative. So that means for this equation, we need to put a what? We need to put a negative sign in front of it. So it's negative x plus 1 times x minus 1. So the answer is 1 minus x squared. Last but not least, x is bigger than 1. So I'm just going to name x equals 2. So the first equation, x plus 1 became 3, and x minus 1 also equals positive 1. So positive times positive, still positive, so we don't have to do anything. The answer is x plus 1 times x minus 1 equals x squared minus 1. So basically for this one is when x is smaller than negative 1 or x is bigger than 1, we have the same answer as x squared minus 1 for this whole entire equation. But when x is bigger than negative 1 or bigger and equals to negative 1 and smaller than 1, for this case scenario equals 1 minus x squared. Get it, everybody? This part is very, very complicated. I want to clear everything. And can we do it on the whiteboard again? Okay, I want you to understand all of them. So x plus 1 squared times x minus 1 squared square root equals what? I'm not going to explain again. I want you to do it with 5 minutes or something, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm going to go to the washroom. Okay, take a pee. When I'm back, I hope all of you understand very well. If you don't, I'm going to explain again. Don't worry about it, okay? This part is very important. You need to understand that actually on the different case scenario, the answer could be different, varies, okay? Understand, Oliver? 不要在那边转来转去了，重新把笔拿出来重新做一遍，不然我跑你家来打你屁股啊，你信不信？OK，你不信，你不信是不是啊？好，明天就来，OK，好不好？OK，Oliver，把笔拿起来开始做，OK，重新做一遍，从头到尾，OK，拜，我去上厕所啊。 Okay, everybody, I hope you really understand that. But for this specific question, I want everybody to be really clear what are you doing, okay? So first of all, you need to know that x plus 1 and x minus 1 is an equation, I know, but you can consider them as a number by putting them together as x plus 1 is a number and x minus 1 is a number. Correct, Elaine? And they have a square sign on top of it, right? Oliver? So that means if you have a square root, you can basically take them as that one. Sorry. But because it's a square root, Elaine, we have to put a absolute value on top of it. Get it, chapter? Okay, so, but we want to take away the absolute value sign out of it. So in order to find out the key point, we need to find out when x equals what, this entire equation equals 0. That is the way we find the key point. Okay, so the key point for this one is -1 and a positive. Get it? When a number is smaller than -1, when the number is in between, and the number is bigger than that. Get it? So I want everybody write it on when x equals -1, or x is bigger or equals to -1 and smaller than 1, or x is bigger or equals to 1. Make sure you have whole entire number line covered, because some students said when x is smaller than -1, the second case is x is bigger than -1 and smaller than 1. Where is x equals -1 goes? Okay, but chapter, if you want to put x smaller than equal to here, for instance, like that, can we do that? Of course. Right, because when x equals 0, it doesn't really relevant for find out the sign. 0 is always 0. Get it? Okay, so now when we are having x equals -1, Jason, the best way to do that is put a special number here. Like for instance, I name x equals -3. Okay, so when x equals -3, you're going to find out if in this case we put -3 here, it's 4 and 2, correct? So the answer is 8, right? So you're going to find out this absolute value is actually what? Useless. You put it on top of it, it's equals to 8. You put on not on top of it, it's still 8. Oh, sorry. I put it here. X equals x equals 3. I'm sorry. 对不对？好了，差不多对不对？说明这个 absolute value 它没有做任何作用，那怎么办？不要它。So the answer is just like that. 好了，那我们看 when x is smaller than -1, so x equals -3. How about like that? So this one equals what? Equals -2. This one equals what? -4. So -2 times -4 equals -8. Oh, sorry, +8. Right? You're going to see that actually this absolute value is not doing anything at all either. So we just take them out. 它没做事情啊，那让它滚蛋呗。对不对？ So x minus squared minus 1. Get it? So let's take a look at the middle one. The middle one is x is bigger than equals to -1 or 1. We can just say x equals what? Equals 0. 0是不是在这个两个中间啊 ，Oliver， 对不对？好了，那 x 等于0的时候，这个等于几啊？等于1。x 等于0的时候，这里等于-1。So 1 times -1 equals 1. Sorry, equals -1. But with the absolute value, this equals 1. So this time, absolute value is doing something. When x value, so absolute value is doing something, you put a negative sign in front of it. 所以等于什么？负的 x 平方减1，所以等于1减 x 平方。Get it, boys and girls? Okay, I know it's not very. Oliver, 你做了没有啊？你像老师一样这样写了吗？好，我知道你肯定会说写了啊。好，OK 的，OK 的。好，我们所有的朋友，最后5分钟，小朋友 last 5 minutes 这一部分在学校里面11年级、12年级都学不到的，是你到了大学里才学得到。Maybe 你11年级的老师会教你们一点，但是 I don't think so. OK，好，我们来做一道一模一样的题目。All of you, please give me the answer. 最后5分钟啊，我看谁先做出来，好不好？
Did you have to put the 2 on the square root?
那不用放，但是我放了嘛，就让你们看起来舒服一点。I'm such a nice person.
Okay.
So I'm going to just give you some hint. The most important thing is find out the key point, 2 and -1. Bigger than 2, bigger than -1 and 2, and smaller than -1. Okay, so we have x is smaller than -1, x is bigger or equals to -1 and smaller than 2, x is bigger or equals to 2. Okay, so when we take out is x minus 2 times x plus 1 absolute value. Okay, so when x equals -1, we can just say x is smaller than -1, and we just say x equals -4, right? We can just pick a number, so -6 times -3 is positive. That means the absolute value is not doing anything. Just leave it like that. The same thing will be happening when x is bigger than 2 when x equals 4. So both of them is going to be 2 and 5 is also bigger than 0. And the absolute value is not doing anything. We just time them together. The only part that is going to be affected is when x equals 1. I just name x equals 1. So the equation equals -1 times 2 equals -2. So obviously the absolute value is doing something. So put a negative sign in front of it, -2 times x plus 1. Get it, boys and girls? Okay. So this part is very important. I hope you understand it very well. Oh, I think I lose connection. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, so we are going to have a class next week. Yeah, I know.
Your voice is glitching a lot.
Yeah, I know. I cannot, you know what? I cannot even see your face at all. I cannot see your face at all. I guess it's my internet is not working very stably for the snowing. And I hope all of you enjoy the weather and stay safe. Okay, drive as slow as you can. I tell your parents not to be too quick. Okay, so come back to see me next week. Okay. That's it for today's class. We're gonna see each other next week. Okay, bye-bye.